Right. We are live. And we're back.
Hey, so we're starting the second episode, right? And now, when this aired originally, did this air on 1 week?
1 week.
So I saw it in 2 separate episodes on Amazon.
Okay.
And the first episode did something so jarringly bizarre that I have to mention it just in case anybody else is watching it on Amazon. And that is, in the first episode, there was a 4 measures or 2 measures cut out of the theme.
Wow, that's interesting.
And in the second episode, there wasn't. So there must have been a time problem that they couldn't solve without dropping 5 seconds. So instead of it being ba-da-da-da-ba-ba-da-da, 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 there was only one of those.
Interesting.
And it was so jarring to me that why did they cut? They'd never done that before.
Would you
and then I was anxious to see.
Would you paint over the Mona Lisa, folks?
I guess that's what Johnny Mathis and Denise Williams are asking as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the way that it played on the DVD is just 1 hour straight through.
Mm-hmm. We start this second half hour, the second half of this, with a real Nick segment, and they just sort of this was when I sort of felt that if I was designing the show thematically, they sort of kind of I felt that they did it right here at the end. If they were doing a fond farewell, you see, I don't know what the finale is. I don't know what their plan is ultimately, and I also don't give a shit because the story's been so awful. So I don't know what the finale is, but obviously either in the finale or prior to the finale, you must honor in some way your characters.
Yes.
And I feel that in this second half, they went for themes, and very weakly went for themes in the first half. And that's why, and in retrospect, when I saw how strong the second half was, I was angrier that they weren't stronger in their themes in the first half. Because the second half play, gosh, it honestly plays Nick, girlfriends, Skippy, singing.
Yeah. It was very clear. And
it's really clear, and the segments were well segmented. They were good clips. The clips, like even the girlfriend clip, they used the good, the Alex dancing clip, which we said at the time was out of control to a certain extent, and it is, but it also was, it was the height of Michael J. Foxism.
That's an interesting thing. I was thinking literally that a lot of these bits we dragged them and we found them to be wanting when we would watch the episodes, but in this clip dynamic, removing all of the chaff from it, some of these things were just like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was like, okay, especially given the ennui of the writing staff over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here by 6. My kids have a little league game. I just feel it, and I'm on one hand I'm sympathetic, and on the other hand I just want to go and TP their houses. but the second half of this episode to me was a clip show at its finest. We start with the Nick clips. We get Nick and Nick at Nick and his dad with Dan Hedaya. We get Nick as being treated like a member of the family, scarily being member of the family. We have the episode where Nick and Mallory ran away to get married. So it's a nice little trip down memory lane of one of yours, mine, and I will say the unmentionable name of Scott Jones's favorite characters of Nick, who was a very, very strong character for us. You know, it's funny. My son walked in the room when Nick was on screen. He said, "Oh, he's still on the show," and I said, "Actually, it's a clip show, but yeah, he still is on the show." And you know what? I'd miss him if he wasn't on the show. I think Nick has added a. I'll tell you, those recurring characters. Those are the characters that will save writers' lives. I'm appreciating it more and more in late in. Where are you on Schitt's Creek?
I'm still in season 1. I just got waylaid by a bunch of other shows and things that I had to watch, and so because like we've talked about before, Schitt's Creek, I love it so much I don't want to overdose.
I parsed it out very carefully. I'm now late in season 2.
Okay.
And in season 2, it totally hits its stride because of the recurring characters and the world of Schitt's Creek, the world of this town. Mm-hmm. It is becoming, and that's not to say that the 4 principals are not absolutely wonderful, each one of them better than the other, but the show works so well because there's a richness to the world that they live in, and the writers aren't hamstrung by writing for just a family, but it's a family and the world that each one of the characters in the family generates.
Yeah.
So I'm so appreciative of recurring characters. And so Nick being one of our favorite recurrings, the girlfriends during the show, and you and I have spent many a moment going down memory lane talking about our first girl that we ever were crazy about on the show. The lovely Balsam actress. Who was it again? What was the first name?
Talia Balsam.
Who was it?
Talia Balsam.
Talia Balsam. God, she was terrific. Did a couple of episodes and was wonderful. And then we had the Gina Davis character that I wouldn't say was a girlfriend, but certainly had a flirtation with Alex P. Keaton. And in this little clip package, we get to see Tracy and Ellen. And
now, I just have to say, in watching this episode again, Corey, if I think it's the best this show ever did, is that final scene with Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan doing in the train station, the climax before he says that he loves her and they kiss and they become a couple and all that stuff. Yeah. If you had to pack this episode, this series down to what's an actual good episode, and when was it really firing on all cylinders with the writing and the acting and the comedy and the pathos, I just watched this scene and I just loved it. I just think it's wonderful.
Well, good guest star turned by the lead in the show. And it was well written. It was funny and it was sad and it was good. You know, you laugh, you cry, you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Same, I sort of feel with the dance number when Alex is trying to impress to Ty that he fears is stealing his girlfriend away from him.
Right.
And then we even with Courtney Cox, our vanilla girlfriend, Courtney Cox, when she the first time and questions him at school machine. And while it's never particularly interesting, it's certainly more interesting than Fox acting like a narcissist for 22 minutes.
Right. And the idea as like a sketch or the game of the scene of having Alex P. Keaton, and we've said this before, attached to a lie detector test, it's always comedy gold. I mean, it's not perfect, but like, you have a character that you know the ins and outs of, put them in some situation that makes them uncomfortable, and then it's just, you have a lot of fun to mine from that.
We section, and I'm glad it would be irresponsible to not honor Nick, girlfriend's Skippy, as we go through our recurrings on the show. Skippy, the blandest Eddie Haskell in the history of television. We have Skippy bringing in a first aid kit because he thought it was a cold capsule, not a time capsule. I don't know if that show makes any sense to anyone, but they went with it. Like, well, that's our best effort. Well, it's our only effort. Okay, Mark, worry about it, but that's all we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, and then even more amazing than that non-joke is when they're like, "Oh, we're just talking about the old days and this and that," and then Skippy, like apropos of nothing, just goes, "Oh, Alex stole my girlfriend," and you're just like, this character of Erwin Skippy Handelman has been sitting on this anger for at least 5 years since this episode. Like, in the world of the Keaton world, Skippy's just been eating shit with a smile, and now at this one moment before the end, he's like, "By the way, fuck you."
It's amazing. It's the same anger Skippy has in terms of the Supreme Court. It was almost the same speech. You substitute your Skippy Handelman speech for your Supreme Court speech earlier in this episode.
Yeah, no.
Unbelievably similar. So we go to Guido's. We have this scene one can remember at Guido's with Jen and Mallory and Alex and a date. And what was the girl was interested in Alex, not in Skippy? Was that what the deal was?
That was the deal,
Skippy,
yeah.
Alex up with Skippy, but she was more interested in Alex than Skippy.
You know, I once again, just like orange juice, Guido's has become a totem of quality time with family ties, and it was nice, just like catching up with Nick, catching up with Skippy, getting to see Guido's again.
You're breaking up again.
Oh shit! Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up again, and we're so close to the end too.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to here. 1 second. I'm just gonna close some things and see if that'll
give you a little bit more power.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scene with Skippy is very farcical. There's a lot of running around, and we do, I guess, in the 7 Family Ties episodes that we've been doing, the 7 seasons done, have been our recurring themes, our B and C plots.
Yeah, it's true.
Noting the use of Guido, any part of the set of Guido's or any of the props from Guido's, and of course the ubiquitous orange juice, which we always enjoy. I think maybe on our last episode, you, me, and imaginary Scott, it's starting to be like Harvey the Rabbit at this point. Like no one believes us that Scott's on the show. And followed the fuck is Joe. We were at Guido's, and after we go back to the last written scene, and Elise and Steven grab the guitar and start to sort of sing there on the guitar and harmonize. And their harmony. Here's the thing: do you have any friends who do this? I've got some. I could name names. They can't sing with a guitar casually. It must be a coffee house performance with harmonies.
Oh.
Even if it's just your 2 friends and you sitting in the room.
Well, I mean, I'm either playing the guitar and singing by myself, or it's with Justin Roller at this point. So it's just like, I'm going to be singing in harmony if I'm with Justin Roller, and then by myself.
So I could be talking about you, is what you're saying?
Well, it's not that we're constantly going around places and singing harmonies together. So it's not, the dynamic isn't the same.
Elise and Steven are compelled to harmonize with each other like the good old days.
It's kind of like the people who sing Happy Birthday in harmony at a birthday party.
Yes. And from there, we go into the final montage where we just go through almost every instance in which any of the Keatons were singing anything with each other. It was way more times than I remember.
Yeah, I was surprised at songs that they had sung in the past. It was like, oh, they're gonna sing Camptown Races. Great, all right, that's cool, I guess. They also sing This Land Is.
Of any of these, there was solos, there were duets, there were family choirs, there was lovely. Okay, wow, okay. I know none of it was new. It was like, okay, they sort of did a nice job, and they sort of faded out on the Keatons singing together.
Yeah, and at the end they sing "In My Life," the Beatles song, and that was how the episode ended.
It is,
Corey.
And
as we talk about this episode, and in conclusion, as we get out of here after this, Quality Time with Family Ties is kind of our time capsule. You know, we'll go back at some point and not listen to these things, but other people will. They'll see times where we had different things going on in our lives. Scott's developing family and whatnot, and it's a hell of a thing, right? This is going to live on after us.
That's correct. Apparently, it will.
Maybe we should just stop paying Barbara and Bryant for the hosting fees, and then they'll just delete this.
Exactly. At some point.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything you want to say as we go away from our final clip show, or just a fare thee well?
No, I'm glad it's the final clip show. I look forward to seeing next week's episode. I actually look forward to seeing.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, I'm going to read this because I'm just terrified that all of this is just garbled because of the internet. So
that's my fear is, yes.
Yeah. Rate and review our show on iTunes. For questions and comments, email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at QTWFT for updates, and you can follow each of us. I'm at Follow Jones. Scott is. I'm at Paul Packler. See, you know what, Corey? I'll just do it, and then so that way it doesn't with the timing and stuff. I'll just start again. Rate and review our show on iTunes. For questions and comments, email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at QTWFT for updates, and you can follow each of us. Scott is at Follow Jones. I'm at Paul Packler, and Corey is at Corpep. And you can like our page on Facebook. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon, at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is a comic book publisher and an online community supporting creators and fans through daily reviews, interviews, and podcasts that span the pop culture spectrum. Fanbasepress.com. We'd like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs Family Ties into our theme song, Without Us. Check out her website, perryadams.com. We'd like to thank Bryant Dillon, who created our fantastic drawing and artwork as well as edits our show. Bryant is the president and co-founder of Fanbase Press. Follow him on Twitter at Comic Book Slayer. And finally, Sean Foster, Fanbase Press's graphic designer, for designing our logo. Corey, go
Yes.
for it. Go for it.
Well, I guess that's it for us, huh?
Yeah.
What else to say? Is there anything else to say? Sha-la-la-la.
Perfect.